Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the English class. Have you all heard about evergreen trees or deciduous trees? Deciduous trees are those which shed their leaves during different seasons, especially in the autumn season. And evergreen trees stay green all the year round. An example of an evergreen tree is the fir tree, and it's seen mostly in cold climates. And trees living in cold climates have special needle-shaped leaves, which doesn't look like leaves at all, like other trees. This helps them to resist or better survive in extreme cold conditions. So today, we are going to learn about the story of a fig tree. The name of the story is The Unhappy Tree. This was written by the famous German poet Friedrich Ruckert, and the author, Friedrich Ruckert, was a poet, a translator, and a teacher. And he was a gifted linguist. What do you mean by a linguist? The study of languages is called linguistics, and one who studies languages or about that languages is called a linguist. And who's a translator? A translator is a person who changes words from one language into words of another language. So the author, Friedrich Ruckert, was a gifted linguist who mastered 30 languages, and hence he has translated many stories and poems from different languages into German language. And his most elaborate work is The Wisdom of the Brahmins and Spring of Love. Now, about the story, The Unhappy Tree. This story is about a fig tree who was very unhappy, or who was worried about, or who was ashamed about the way it looks. It was so ashamed of its needle-shaped leaves, and this tree was envious of all the other trees which were living around it. All the other trees were having different kinds of beautiful leaves, but this tree was having needle-shaped leaves which did not look like leaves at all. So what happened? This fig tree wished for different types of leaves from time to time, and it also got its wishes granted, but the consequences were not always pleasant. So this story portrays the course of events that happened in the life of this tree that led this tree to finally realize that it's not about outer beauty, it's about the beauty of the heart that matters. The inner beauty is what that matters. So let's move on to the story. All of you please turn to page number 93 in your textbook. See the heading, The Unhappy Tree. Let's read the story. Once upon a time, there was a little fig tree that grew in the midst of a wood. We can see a few fig trees here, and we're talking about a single fig tree which was growing in the midst of a wood. Wood here means a small forest. So this fig tree was there, and surrounding it, lots of other types of trees were also there. And you can see the leaves of a fig tree here. See, the leaves look like sharp, prickly needles, not like the usual types of leaves that we see around. In autumn, other big trees covered it with their colorful leaves, and in winter, it was dressed in beautiful, fresh snow. In this way, it braved snow and storm until springtime came. So what happens? Autumn is the season where the trees shed their leaves usually, and the leaves of the other trees, which are not evergreen trees, the leaves may turn into orange, red, or even yellow. You can see some trees are here with their leaves colored yellow or orange, and you can see the fig trees standing there, and they look green only, not like the leaves of other trees growing around. And this is the side that you can see in autumn season. And then what happens after autumn season? Winter comes, and in winter, all the fig trees, all the trees growing around will be covered in snow. While all the other trees shed their leaves and face the snow, face the winter season with extreme coldness, this fig tree has got special kind of leaves, needle-shaped leaves, that helps them resist this extreme cold climatic conditions. And the fig tree better survives the winter season than the other trees because of two reasons. One is that their leaves develop a special kind of waxy coating which helps them protect from the winter season, and also the fluid inside their leaves helps them to resist these cold conditions. Now, suddenly the fig tree was bare. it saw the other trees sprouting beautiful leaves, the little fig tree was covered in sharp and prickly needles instead of leaves. Suddenly, the fig tree was bare. Bare means without any covering. See, now the winter season is over. Now it's spring season. So the season of fresh new growth has started. Now it's springtime and all the trees are growing beautiful, young and tender, fresh leaves. Now the little fig tree is covered with sharp and prickly needles or needle-shaped leaves instead of other kinds of leaves which all the other trees have. So it said to itself sadly, all the other trees here have beautiful leaves and I only have sharp needles. If I could have a wish, I would ask for green leaves too. So what happened? So this tree got ashamed of how it looks. It really wished for the leaves of other trees. So it made a wish. It made a wish that it also got the type of green leaves that other trees have got. And then what happened? The little tree didn't sleep well that night, but when it woke up in the morning, it couldn't believe its luck. Then this tree made a wish and it went to sleep. And the next morning it wakes up and the tree couldn't believe what happened. All the needles were gone and the little tree was covered in fresh green leaves. It laughed merrily and said, now I need not be ashamed anymore. I am like my friends in the wood. So what happened? The tree's wish came true. The next morning when it woke up, it sees that it is all covered with fresh green leaves, just like the other trees which were growing around it. And now the tree is not ashamed of how it looks anymore. And he compares himself that he looks just like the other trees growing around him. Let's see what happened next. Please turn to the next page. Not long after, along came a god looking for grass and herbs for himself and his young ones. Delicious, he nibbled and nibbled and nibbled all the crisp new leaves away. He scarfed down the stems and tender shoots till the little tree stood bare. So what happened? Now that this little fig tree is covered with all green fresh leaves, a god comes his way. And this god was so hungry, and when this god saw this beautiful green leaves, it immediately started eating away all the leaves out of the tree. And he scarfed down. Scarfed down means to gulp down because it was so hungry. It immediately chewed up and gulped down all the fresh green leaves which were sprouting from the tree. And now there are no more leaves on the tree and the tree stood bare. Means the tree stood there without any more leaves on it. Alas, alas, cried the little tree, all my green leaves are gone. If I only had another wish, I would ask for leaves of glass. And then it fell asleep. So what happened? The tree got its wish granted. The tree got its first wish granted. It got green leaves just like the green leaves of other trees. But then a god comes his way and eats away all the green leaves. And the tree felt very sad again. So what happened? The tree made a second wish. Now what's his wish? He made a wish that he gets leaves which are made of glass so that no god will come and eat away the leaves. After making the wish, it fell asleep. Let's see what happened next. The little fig tree woke up the next day when it heard a strange tinkling sound. It was covered with bright and shiny leaves of glass. So the next morning, the tree wakes up to see that it got its wish granted again. Now the tree is covered with beautiful, shiny leaves of glass. And these glassy leaves were swaying in the wind and they were making a tinkling sound. Aha, said the little tree. No tree in the wood glistens like me, and no god will eat my leaves. So the tree is saying, no tree in the wood glistens like me. To glisten means to shine brightly with a sparkling light. You might have seen how glass sparkles in bright light. So his beautiful glass leaves were shining with a sparkling light in the morning sun. And he also felt relieved that now no god will come or eat away his leaves. But that night there came a fierce storm. A fierce storm means a destructive storm or a powerful storm. That night there came a fierce storm the little fig tree shook all over and its shiny leaves shattered on the ground. My leaves, my glass leaves, moaned the little tree. They lie broken in the dust while all the other trees are still dressed up. Oh, if I had another wish, I would ask for leaves of gold. So what happened? The tree got its wish granted. The tree got leaves which are made of glass. And what happened that night? A fierce storm was there. A fierce storm blew and all the glass leaves were shaking in this fierce storm and they all shattered into pieces and fell onto the ground. What happened to other trees? All the other trees survived this fierce storm. Now the tree lost all its beautiful glassy leaves. And what happened next? The tree made a third wish. Now what is his wish? Now the tree made a wish to get leaves which are made of gold, so that no god will come and eat the leaves and also no storm can destroy its golden leaves. Let's see what happened next. That night again, the little tree slept poorly. It woke up in the morning to hear the other trees sighing in awe and wonder. Aha! The little tree looked at itself. It was completely covered in glistening golden leaves. So this tree made this wish to get golden leaves and it went to sleep, but it could not sleep peacefully that night. But the next morning when it wakes up, it hears the other trees are saying something. The other trees were looking at this tree with great wonder. And when this tree looked at himself, he sees he's all covered with beautiful, glistening golden leaves. How grand I am! No other tree in the wood is dressed in gold. No goat shall eat my leaves, and no storm shall break them to bits. So now the tree is so happy about how it looks. It looked so grand, and the tree got proud of himself about the way he looks. And he exclaimed that now no god will come and eat the leaves. No storm can break his leaves into pieces. Soon there came a young man with a large sack. As he was passing by, he noticed the gleam of the golden leaves. So this tree was shining brightly, happily in the sunlight, and he sees a man passing by. And this man sees a gleam. Gleam means a bright shine of reflected light. So light was reflecting from the golden leaves of the tree, and the man sees this reflection. And what happens? I shall become very rich today. He sees these golden leaves and he immediately thought he can make a fortune out of these golden leaves. The man picked all the leaves of the tree, stuffed them into his sack and hurried away, leaving the little tree cold and bare again. So what happened? The man plucked all the golden leaves from this tree. He put all these leaves in his sack and then he just hurried away. He just went away from there. He thought he'll sell all these golden leaves and become very rich. And now the tree is all bare again. The tree did not have any leaves on it and he just stood there bare. Alas, cried the little tree bitterly. I want no more leaves, neither gold ones nor glass ones, nor green or red or yellow ones. If only I could have my needles, I would never complain again. So finally, it seems that the tree realized its own worth. Now the tree realized that it does not need leaves of gold or leaves of glass or green leaves just like any other tree. It lived its best when it had its sharp, prickly needles. So now the tree is wishing that it got its needles again or the needle-shaped leaves again. That night, the little tree slept well. So now that the tree realized its own worth, the tree slept well, slept peacefully that night. It was not jealous anymore. It was not jealous of other trees anymore. It laughed aloud with joy. All of its needles were back. All the other trees standing around laughed too, happy for the little fig tree. So the next morning he wakes up and he sees that he got all its beautiful needles again. The tree felt so happy to get back its leaves or its needle-shaped leaves or needles. So all the other trees which were growing around it were also so happy for this little tree. They felt so happy to see this little fig tree happy. The little fig tree stood proud and happy again, and everyone thought it was very beautiful indeed. So this tree was shining from the inside with confidence, and he felt so worth of himself. He realized his own worth. So this little fig tree was standing there, happy and proud, content with the way he looks, and this was a beautiful sight to watch, to see him shining with confidence. And all the other trees felt this is a beautiful sight too. So they dressed him up with ornaments and decorations and lights, and they started doing the same every Christmas to celebrate Christmas. So that's how people started decorating a fig tree to celebrate Christmas. So that's the story of how the tradition of Christmas tree or decorating a Christmas tree was born. So that's how people started decorating fig trees to make Christmas trees. Children, I hope you enjoyed the story. The story conveys a message, a subtle message that character and personality or inner beauty is what matters the most, and not the outer beauty or how you look. Now you have to read the story at least 2 times again. Now let's have a look at the new words that we learned in this chapter. You have to note down the new words and their meanings in your notebook. Learn to pronounce these words, also learn their spelling, and learn to make sentences, at least 1 sentence each, with each of these words given here. Now, the new words are scarfed. Scarfed means gulped down. Glistening means shining. Bare means without any covering. Fierce means powerful or destructive. Gleam means to shine brightly. Now, there is a do and learn page in page number 92 of your textbook. You see this page in the beginning of this chapter, and here an interesting game is being discussed, and also the importance of protecting our environment is also mentioned there. You have to go through this, and at the bottom you can see, listen to the song Give Me Your CO2 and sing it. So I hope you are aware about the earth songs. In the beginning of the textbook you can see this picture, and there is a QR code here which you can scan, and you can download the application in your phone or your computer. And these are a few beautiful songs about the earth. You listen to the songs and enjoy them. So that's all for today, children. We'll meet in the next class. Till then, bye.